religion is about uniting the masses. Religion is about bringing people together with some higher vision. There's usually a white male in the sky.
This video is not for you if you care about beliefs. And a disclaimer, don't believe me, Naval, or anyone. Think for yourself, thank yourself. Anyways, Naval will share 5 things about religion that I found to be very interesting. I'm Jordan, I've made over $5 million, hired 50 people, and here is Naval's first insight.
There's usually a white male in the sky. Surprise, who's telling you how to do things, and they have a set of rules. You're supposed to follow these rules. If you don't, you're going to get hurt in the next life, and if you do, then you'll get rewarded in the next life. And a lot of people still believe that, and it's fine. Religion is a cooperating system for humans, so it's good to be around in certain doses. But I think a lot of people, when science came along, Nietzsche famously declared God is dead.
I actually never heard of that before, so I did some research, and Nietzsche wrote the following in 1882. Well, I'm roughly paraphrasing him here. God is dead. God remains dead, and we have killed him. But given the way of man, there may still be caves for thousands of years in which his shadow will be shown. And here's what Naval thinks about Nietzsche saying this.
Why do you say that? Because once you took Newton and the Enlightenment scientists seriously, you realize, well, maybe there isn't a guy in a white robe. Maybe that's a little too literal. Maybe there's something else. Maybe there's something less. So I think since then, humanity has been searching for an organizing principle.
Well, I think there are 2 interesting things here. One, the more mysteries in life that can get explained through science, which obviously is closer to the truth than organized religion, then the less you can believe in a God, right? Now, I also think part of the reasons our religions were created was because there were and still are so many things unexplained. And the other thing that Naval says is that people search for an organizing principle. And I think what he means with that is, for instance, if someone always used a GPS or navigation and then suddenly needs to learn how to read maps and use landmarks, then of course that feels disorienting, to lose this guiding voice. And most people would probably try to find it back again, that navigation. The GPS, the TomTom, maybe including myself. Although I am not and wasn't raised religious, I still care about social approval, even though it has become less over the years. Which reminds me of this quote from Naval: if you want to make the wrong decision, ask everyone. But Naval also shares some nuance when it comes to the science and religion.
It's hard to argue that all there is just this reality of mind and body. Yes, science is great. It lets us navigate the world, lets us predict future outcomes, lets us build technology. But the fundamental mystery of existence, of consciousness, why am I even here? How did I get here? Who the heck am I really? What happens when I die? Those questions science has not made much progress on. It does not answer. So there is always going to be a religious impulse.
Well, I see a lot of truth in this, because science may explain how gravity works, but not how gravity came to be. Which brings me to the question, isn't everyone religious?
So that religious impulse will always be answered. There will always be a religion, whether you care to call it that or not. And I think the founders of the United States very intelligently separated church and state. They said, you shall not make any official state religion, and you won't abridge the exercise of any religion, because they knew that this impulse was always going to be around and people had to be free to express it. But the state should not mandate it. Well, now we do have a state-mandated religion, which is you just remove God from the equation, and then it doesn't look like religion anymore. But it still has the same characteristics.
So even though I don't believe in a God, go to church or to the mosque, or at least not to pray, I still hold beliefs, right? And I think Naval is saying that my desire to feel clear about my beliefs will remain a desire within me and with me, the majority of people. Maybe also because the opposite is too scary, which is unclarity, right? Well, scary or not, I care about the truth, and I write about it in my weekly 2-minute email that you receive if you download this free Google Sheet below, with over 80 free tools that I use in my business and personal life. All unsponsored, no affiliates, just truth. Anyways, here Naval goes in depth on shadow religion. Listen closely.
You are, for example, an enlightened atheist. You don't believe in God, and you don't believe in hell, and you don't believe in heaven, you don't believe in an afterlife. Well, what's left? Well, you could still have a vision of a perfect world, a utopia, that's heaven. So you could say, if the world was like a paradise, it was like a natural paradise, Garden of Eden, right? Everything is perfect until man comes along, and then he ruins everything. So man is a sinner who's destroying the world. Gaia would be just fine if it weren't for these evil humans. So you have the sinner, you have have the devil, which is mankind. You have the perfect heaven, which is the utopia that you want to create. You have the hell, which is what man is leading you towards right now, the technological hell of capitalism and progress. And then who's the savior? Well, eventually somebody has to save the day, so it's going to be you and your merry band of friends weaponizing the state against individuals. So I think that's the current religion that's going on. It goes by various names: wokeism, identity Marxism, just hides, sometimes calls itself liberal. It has to be a shadow religion. It can't actually let itself be named, because if it is named as a religion, then it's actually forbidden by the Constitution for the government from engaging in it. But it's very cleverly disguised. But I think it's a collectivist impulse, and it will always reassert itself. And again, if you don't have that, you have a brutal society. So you have to have some variation of it. But at the same time, if it takes over the whole thing, it's an ate the host. And the whole thing is a fungus now.
Well, I actually found the following clip, where I think Naval explains what he just said more clearly. Listen closely.
The miracle of existence still begs to be explained. So there's a powerful religious instinct within humans. And the world is a dark and lonely place if you feel alone. And so we do have a natural tendency to group together. And the left has identified the modern way to do that is through a new religion. And that's why I keep referring to Marxism or a lot of the more extreme leftism as a new religion, because you can't challenge its dogmas. It has blasphemy. There's certain things you can't say. But the key thing they've done in this religion is they've gotten rid of Jesus. Now, the main sinner, the devil, is man, and the heaven is the pristine Gaia-like earth that was here before we got here. And there's no hope of salvation or redemption. We're only evil. So the only way to basically solve this dilemma of how do you prevent men and women from destroying the Garden of Paradise is you basically have to throw them out of Eden completely. You have to destroy them, which is why there are so many anti-fertility arguments on the left. There's so many degrowth arguments on the left. It's all about we're destroying the world. We're ending the world. There's like a doomerism that goes on, including in AI or in we're going to blow ourselves to pieces, or we're going to run out of resources. There's all these different fallacies.
Different fallacies. Like Naval once said, if everyone is sick, we no longer consider it a disease. Which brings me to the question, what is actually the truth?
There are things that have a greater truth composition than others. You just have to get away from this binary thinking of true and false. So there are things that are more true and there are things that are less true.
But that still doesn't answer my question. How do you actually find out for yourself what is true or more true? Well, Naval shares the 4 ways to find out for yourself in this video. See you there. Talk soon.